My name is Gus Robertson. I operate 3 businesses in the financial field. The main focus of those 3 businesses is to build financial wealth and freedom now as well as for future generations. I believe that my value to social media is I keep things pretty simple. I don't complicate things with the 25 different things that you should do. I just keep it simple, something that parents can follow, and it's almost so simple it's stupid. The main thing that we're going to talk about today is we're keying in on dads. So we're going to talk about 2 concepts. The first 2 are, why do dads not do this? And it's a pretty simple answer, and I talk about this with a ton of my clients. They were never taught about self-education. Everybody thinks that they have to go to somebody to start something whenever it comes to investing or just finances or how to do anything. The next one is a constant state of what I call like self-placed ego disappointment. And so that's a lot of words in one sentence, but a lot of dads live in disappointment of never getting started, and they get scared to talk to people about that, which is just ego driven. And so they just go year after year and just never even get started. So I think that's the cool thing about what I do is I have felt that before. So a lot of what I do on social media is to try to help parents. We as parents, we spend a ridiculous amount of money, hours, time, ball games, driving back and forth. I mean, my wife and I, we looked at it the other day. We spent 5 hours yesterday just transporting, going to ball games. Woke up at 4:30. I woke up at 4:30, didn't get home until almost 8. So you think about the time and effort that we all put into our kids, but yet we don't take any time for ourselves. And I know that that's easy for me to say because I talk, this is constant conversation with my friends and clients. But it's tough as a parent, is having kids and then we get pushed to the side. So I'm not going to get into how that affects marriages or anything like that, but I am going to get into how that affects your ability to invest in yourself. So one thing that I kind of drive home with a lot with my clients, and I say it a lot in my Zooms, disappointed men don't see a future. Disappointed men do not invest in themselves. Disappointed men do not invest in 401ks. They don't invest in Roths. They don't save money. Disappointed men just live in a constant state of frustration. And it's just all ego driven and really time management. And it's really just asking for help. That's all that it is. So to the majority of the dads, I would just simply ask, at what point, you have to kind of trace it back, at what point did you decide to stop investing in yourself? And you were probably investing in yourself and didn't even know that you were investing in yourself. So whether it was high school and you went straight to work, and then you were like, I'm going to take this job, and then I'm going to work at this job, and whether it's a W-2, 9 to 5, and then you stop chasing that dream that you once thought was so important, and so you stopped investing in yourself, or college. And after college, you put your head down and you just grind. And I realize that's a little harsh for a lot of dads, and it kind of hits them in the throat whenever I say, at what point, I ask the question, at what point did you stop investing in yourself? I think that if most dads were given the choice and they were put in a room full of men and they were just asked this simple question, would you rather fight the lion or learn how to fight the lion, or would you rather look in the mirror and just live your life in regret and just stare at that guy in the mirror and just always ask himself, hey, what could have been if I would have put in a little more effort? And as time goes on and you stop investing in yourself, it gets a little easier to just say, oh, I'll just do it later, or never do it. The majority of men just never do it. So I realized that my message is not for everybody. I was thinking about this a lot lately. I wish it was for everybody, but my message is for men who understand how important it is to put themselves first. And I say this a lot, you are of zero good to your family if you're last. Now, yeah, that comes with some caveats, meaning like, I understand kids have to go here and go there. I'm not telling you to leave your kids at school 1 hour after daycare ends or something, and so you can go to the gym. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have to understand that you are of no value as a dad. You are of zero value to your house if you are not trying to make yourself better. And it's very simple. And that's a hard pill for a lot of dads to swallow, because they would have to go back and admit that they didn't put themselves first. And that's why a lot of men just never get started. Was talking to one of my clients the other day, and he's got 3 kids. And he's got stresses just like the rest of us. He's a W-2, 1099 salesman. And he's got, work, life, ball games, everything. And so I asked him just a simple question. I said, dude, how much money do you think that you pay for your children to get coaches, for daycare, coaches, school? Now 3 kids, all under the age of 10. And his answer was he's a budget guy. So he knew that it was between $25,000 and $30,000 a year. And you think about that. And there's a lot of people that do that. And a lot of people probably look at this and probably laugh. And like, for me, I got 5 kids. I can without a doubt say I'm probably spending 50 to 60 grand a year on 5 kids for what I call coaching and school education. And so that is a ton of money. But I simply asked him, and he's a good buddy of mine. I asked him, I said, well, how much money are you spending on yourself? And he said, I looked at a $900 course the other day, and I've been thinking about buying it for a few months, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. And I said, so dude, you're spending 25 to 30 grand on your kids for sports, daycare, and other stuff, but you wouldn't spend $900 on a 1-year, one-time course. And he was like, dude, he said, I've never even looked at it like that before as a dad. And I was like, man, so, and then I just kept pushing him a little bit, because that's what I do, is I just simply asked him, I was like, do you remember at what point you lost your want to invest in yourself? Not job. What I mean by that is that, yeah, of course, if you have a job, then it's your job to do the best that you can at that job. But what I'm talking about is whenever he stops self-educating, stop looking at videos, stop reading books, stop doing anything. And he said about a year into that job, he won an award for top salesman. And ever since then, all he wanted to do was do the best that he could to win in that job, to win that award again, which is great. But that's whenever it became all consuming, and he stopped doing the things that he knew made him a better person and a better man outside of that job. Better man, better friend, better dad, better husband, better everything, which has nothing to do with your jobs. And once we got in, so we started talking about that again, or even further, and he was like, dude, he said, the questions that you're asking me, he said, I've never thought about it before, but I felt it. So I just simply asked him, I was like, what does that feel like to know that you gave up that period of time for awards, for accolades, but then you didn't invest in yourself? And he was like, he said, I got pretty lucky whenever he said this. He said he was disappointed in himself. And so I just simply, we just kept talking, and I was like, well, over that time period that you were with that company, did you do anything investment wise other than what the company offered? And he said, no, he said, I just completely stopped. So that's why I always say men can become disappointed in themselves, disappointed in the things that they don't do. And then that just kind of builds and snowballs. And he was like, in that moment, I could see like a light went off in his eye, where he was like, yeah, you know what? I realize now how important me investing in self-educating myself is. So after that conversation, we have talked a couple of times every day, and his goal at that point was, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, but his goal at that point was to kind of go back and start investing in himself. And he sees the error of his ways, which I think every man has got to go through. But his goal at this point was to start doing the things that he once loved and invest in those things, which to me is going to give him energy to want to invest in the future. So again, this talk today is more about mindset. So you guys hear me talk about this a lot. I talk about my employees whenever I go through the hiring process. And I ask every employee one question, and I ask them, who is the most important person in your life? And it's crazy answers. They don't hear the word person, and people are so scared to say the right answer, which is themselves. So I kind of go back to the beginning whenever it comes to dads. Dads have to understand that you are in charge of your children. A good dad understands this. A dad that is evolving understands this. I think I'm a better dad now with my 3 children and my older 2 children than I was with just my one daughter. I'm a better dad now. And here's why I understand I'm a better dad. I'm quieter and I lead from the front. And I didn't do that then. And so my point is that children mimic everything that we do, especially dads. They talk like we talk, they walk like we walk, they everything that we do, they want to be like us. And I think that is a lot of a failure in probably the last few years, is that has been lost. So that's another point of why I do this, is to uplift dads to understand that everything that we do matters. Everything, investing, not investing, both of them, each one of those is a plan. And so, as well as how we live each day with our children. So going back to my employees, the question that everybody misses, 1 out of 20 miss, and so that's why I don't hire everybody, is who is the most important person in your life? And the answer is you. And plus I get a lot of pushback on that online, as well as with my clients, about who is the most important person. But again, there's nothing worse than a man that is disappointed in himself every day. So I got a friend of mine that is a W-2 employee. He's a manager. He's great at his job. His employees love him. His people that he is, the farmers that he works with, everybody loves him. But he talks a lot about not having enough and then being appreciated. So he's disappointed in the fact that he is not appreciated. So I just simply asked him, I was like, dude, what are you good at outside of your job? He's like, man, he said, well, I like to hunt, I like to fish, I like to work on my guns. He said, I like to work on my bows. I was like, dude, you realize that is a skill that you can self-educate on, and you could go and go to a business and start a business doing that. And it just blows his mind whenever I talk about self-education. And this could be for anything. This could be that's just a small example. But education is a lot more in college, especially in today's world. You hear a lot of people saying that you can get as much education on YouTube as you can in college. That's not true. That's total fallacy. But you can self-educate yourself using YouTube, books, seminars. You can do a lot. Everybody has got something that they are good at outside of their job. That's what you need to go all in on whenever it comes to that. And so, like for me, in my business, I went all in on being a better leader, a better employer, a better hiring process. I went all in on tech. I went all in on doing social media, because all of that is the future. I didn't learn this in college. This part of it, I did not learn this in college. And I'm not disappointed in myself. There are some things I'm disappointed in myself, but I'm not disappointed in this. And so I don't look at life the same way as I used to whenever I was disappointed because I was not doing this. And I think that dads need to understand that the ROI, the return on investment on education, is infinite. It has the highest return on investment of anything that you can do. And your kids, again, I always talk about kids, your kids will pick up on the fact that you are investing. It's not my son, who is old enough, well, my 20-year-old and my now 7-year-old think that I'm a superstar. They really do. It's the greatest. My son thinks I'm famous. And it's the greatest thing. And he tells everybody and then I have to answer for it, that I'm on TV. And think about how much pride that gives him, even if it's not real right now. It's gonna be real. But think about how much pride that gives him. And my 20-year-old thinks most days I'm the coolest dad ever because of this. And I'm so cool, she works for me while she's in college. And so that's a big thing. You want your kids to be proud of you, and the only way that they can do that is that they need to see what you do and that you're doing something. So I think that here's the challenge for most dads. And the reason why I'm picking on dads today is because I am a dad. I think that all problems in a house or a business stem from dads. I really do. If you got a bad marriage, other than some crazy thing going on, it normally stems, every problem that's ever happened in my house probably came from me. And so, or something that I did or said. But if you don't place a high value on learning and educating yourselves, then why should your kids believe anything that you say? So it's kind of like you have to walk the walk with your kids, or it's just a lie. And lying just creates disappointment. So there has to be something. So my point behind this is kind of get people thinking. There has to be something that interests you, something that if you learn how to do it, or you probably already know how to do it, but let's just say you went all in. You went all in to get better at that skill set. I don't care what it was. It has nothing to do with your job, or maybe it's something that you learned at your job. And just get better at that. There is no, and I always say, there is no easy answer to this. Most of the reason why men don't do this is just fear driven. My buddy I was talking about earlier that would not invest in the $900 course, he just had created this almost like fear of allocating funds to himself, meaning he put himself last. And we're talking about a $900 compared to $20,000 to $25,000 to $30,000 for his children annually. $900, $30,000 every single year. And so once you take away all the excuses and you focus in on the one thing that you want, for example, and I always use this, when I got my real estate license, I had been in this career for probably 15 years. I went back and I got my real estate license, but I did it because it interests me. Man, I can tell you, I never felt so much fear in my life. I came up with every excuse. It was on the weekends. It was during football season. It was during hunting season. I had my son. I wasn't going to be able to spend time with him. But that one investment in my future, I can't even tell you how much money it's made me. I'm not a real estate buyer or seller, but it saved me at least 6% on every deal that we've ever bought real estate wise. Consulting fees, where I've helped friends of mine buy real estate. So that $1,000 course and 1 8-week on weekends course, the ROI on that is infinite. It's infinite. And so the one thing that you're scared of is probably the one thing that you need to do. So how I'll leave it is this. I will just challenge dads to, whatever you're disappointed in yourself about, nail that down, invest in yourself, find a course, find a book, find something, find better friends. I heard this the other day by Ed Milet. You are one friend away from changing your life, just one. One friend away from changing your life and having a new perspective. You do not need to surround yourself with people who agree with you, that agree with the current you, because they just want you to be happy. You need to find somebody that disagrees with you and will push you. And if you don't like that person, then they're probably not going to like you. And so you won't be friends anymore. But one person, you're one person away, one solid move away. So as much as I detest the New Year's resolutions, we're almost at the end of 2024. So the challenge is between now and then, go all in on something. Go all in on changing your life. And that's kind of a cliche statement, but go all in on the one thing that you know that you're good at. Just do it for yourself, do it for your kids. Give your kids a better opportunity by seeing their dad go all in. Hey, appreciate you guys joining us today. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. You can also shoot us a DM and we'll get those questions answered as quickly as possible. Thank you.